We're gonna get
We live.
yes, sir.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing, man? It's showtime at the Apollo, baby. But we don't have Kiki.
What's up, Shopify dropshipper? I think you are trying way
Is
too
that
hard
me?
to make money online. You see, most stores and Shopify dropshippers, maybe it's you,
Shut up, man.
think you are
Round up family, what's going on?
money online. You see,
What is
most
that?
stores and Shopify dropshippers, maybe it's you,
Shut up.
What's that?
what's going on?
What you got, Eddie? What you got going on? Round up family, good evening. Welcome to our virtual assistant masterclass. I want to thank you. Thank you for allowing us to serve you. We had a few technical difficulties, but we're going to get rocking and rolling. This comes with the territory. I want you to stay with me. Please stay with us. We've got Mr. Transaction and Mrs. Transaction Engineer going to bring this virtual assistant thing home for everybody watching tonight. I know you sacrificed your hard-earned dollars, so we're going to give you maximum value. And the PowerPoint presentation, I thought it was they had to revamp it to take their information off. Eddie, tell us what's going on with that.
Yeah, guys, we tweaking the documents for you. We got to take all our company information out. So it'll be, you guys can edit it for your use. So you'll have that within 24 hours, and they're going to get this live training. You're going to get this live training also. So you can go back and take a look at this, and you'll have your whole setup with all your documents, your PDF tomorrow on how to get started with your virtual assistant and level up, man. Take your business to the next level. So we're excited, man. We're excited. This is going to take your business to the next level, I promise you. Hey, this is the stuff they don't tell you about that you need for your business, especially if you want to get yourself out the middle. So this is very beneficial, guys.
So I'm gonna put it here. We're gonna have a link. I'll put it back in this roundup family. I'll make sure that this goes back in the video link, the description, and we'll have Eddie email it to you so you'll have all that stuff. Is that fair, roundups? All right, let's do this, Eddie. What we got, my friend?
All right, let me get Miss Engineer over here so we can get the party started, baby.
Yes. So this virtual assistant stuff is just unbelievable, and no matter how big or small you are, you can always learn how to delegate. I know my business didn't take off till I started delegating just the smallest things. Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm blessed. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. I'm blessed too, and I hope everyone on here is as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
Alrighty, so let's get started. Let me get my screen situated here. Okay. Here. Can you guys see my screen?
Take your mouse and go over to the left side. It'll say screen share.
Oh, entire screen. Okay.
There you go.
Awesome. Alrighty, let's get going.
I love it.
Alrighty, so today's presentation is about hiring a virtual assistant. Why do you need one? How do you hire them? Where will you find them? And then the process of how you incorporate them in your business. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, let's review the type of VAs. There is the selling VA who works specifically with sellers when you're trying to acquire properties. The selling VA will typically be the most detailed VA, the one that should, even though most of these VAs are outsourced outside of the country, they should have the best conversational skills. They should have the best ability to build a rapport and a relationship with your clients. They should have a thorough understanding of what you do, what real estate tactics you represent, and just all of those in between. You will pour the most into your selling VA as far as building that relationship between you guys, and you will probably lean the heaviest on them. Then you have a buying VA. And I want to note that the selling and buying VA can be interchangeable when you're starting, but ideally, as you grow in deals, you're going to want to delineate these roles. Why? Because the selling VA, they capture the most knowledge. They have to be able to understand all the different tactics. And essentially, you're training them to be you, to understand, okay, how do I identify an opportunity and how do I differentiate? Is this an opportunity for an AX deal, which is a home with equity that you might be able to flip, or a pretty house wholesale, versus delineating, okay, this is a pre-foreclosure. So I have to address this delicately and differently than I would of one that's not distressed. So that selling VA, you really want to eventually get that person to be the sole VA of that subject matter, because I feel like that's the biggest pool that you have whenever you're doing everything yourself starting off. When you move over to the buying VA, this VA can be very general because the VA works with the buyers, all the leads that come in from the properties that you're trying to sell. So they're going to have repetitive work. It's very defined, so to speak. There's not that gray area like it is in the selling VA world. It's very defined as to what they do. They capture the information between whatever multitude of systems you have. We'll share what systems we use, and we've left our documents as is so that you can see them and kind of how we put our system together. And then we're happy to answer questions at the end of the presentation in case you have some systems that differentiate from what we use or give recommendations and so forth.
So the selling VA is dealing with sellers.
Yes, dealing with sellers of homes. So selling VA deals with the sellers. And as you and I know, Chris, that is the most
delicate
part of what we do, because you're trying to get the property, right? Rather, you're going to buy it to hold or buy it to flip. You're trying to get that property. And in the residential world, they're always fueled by emotion, whether it's emotion of distress and remorse, or emotion of just a monetary gain, or emotion of
stress,
maybe feeling like they know more than, or they can sell the home on their own, or what have you, or just challenging you. It's all kind of different types. And we'll talk about the mindset of different sellers a little bit later in this presentation. But that's why your selling VA almost needs to be your clone. And believe it or not, there are a lot of great VAs out there that you can outsource the work to that really come into your business and tackle it and understand how to be that good SVA. But the buying VA does not have to be as detailed. They should be thorough, but they don't have to be detailed, meaning they're going to capture information. They will identify that person that you'll be able to flip and get that large down payment from. But that's pretty much all they have to do. You will want to know that they speak good English, because you know some people's pet peeves is if they can't understand them, or some of that nature, or you can have a miscommunication of information in your spreadsheet. So you want to make sure the integrity of what you're receiving is good, but they don't have to be as thorough. And when you guys are imagining this and implementing it, you would want to first source out all work that is done by the selling VA first. You could continue doing buying VA information, because you can simply hire project VAs on a one-time basis as you do campaigns, and have them pull information from whatever system you have, utilizing the work instruction that we have. And then you can simply filter through that Google document and see who does qualify with the down payment and call them back. That's the easiest lift for you. But that beginning work of just acquiring the property, that's the heaviest lift. So if you can take from spending all your time in the business and delegating it out for $6 an hour, that's going to be gold for you, so that you can move on and do other things and be able to plan and grow your business accordingly. Mm-hmm. And then that leads us to our last VA. And this is the project VA. This is typically going to be your first VA you start with. And the reason I say that is because there is no instruction on how using these VAs. These are VAs that are used on an as-needs basis. You will agree on a project amount of what you want them to do, and then they will complete that, and that's it. There's no contractual obligation to stay with them, as some are, and there's really nothing more than utilizing them for on an as-need basis. These type of VAs will be found, let's go ahead, will be found on Upwork and Fiverr. So Upwork and Fiverr is an amazing site for you to source out all types of different work. But virtual assistants are really, I mean, they're really prevalent on them. You will find VAs with all types of experience, and you can search certain things like contracts negotiator, short sale negotiator, real estate virtual assistant, because essentially everybody on Upwork is a virtual assistant in Fiverr. So if you utilize these sites to start with finding your project VA, and you can utilize them on a few projects, we recommend, as long as there are 4 stars or better, it's typically okay to use them. Oftentimes you want to use VAs that have very robust profiles. They'll have, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm a stickler, so I want them to have 5 stars and normally at least do 50 jobs, but me, I'm looking for the 100 of jobs that they've completed. So
what do you mean by that? You're talking about their work history?
Yes, their work history. So let me see if I can pull it up. I apologize because I didn't think about doing this, but it makes sense to do that. So
We can just show them the site though, because it's kind of detailed. And I mean, maybe we'll do another hiring a VA. You know, we'll do that for free later down the line. It's gonna take some time to do that.
okay, well, certainly. But this
You
is
see
the
the site.
website, and I do just kind of want to show you what a profile looks like, because I think it's
Yeah.
beneficial. It could be overwhelming if you've never utilized these sites before. So this is my guy for my project one, and I utilize him a lot. But if you see here, here's his profile, and he will skip trace. He will validate information for you. He will put lists together. If you take it down, he tells you all the different packages that you can do, because I know some of you guys are just starting up with your real estate business, and some of you are very seasoned. Some of you may want to pay the monthly fees for skip trace systems. Some of you may not. If you're trying to be very economical within your business, this would be the way to start, because you can get 100 address, owner, phone numbers, all for $15. So if you're trying to run a large campaign, 1,000 for 100, that, you know, that, and there's no contractual obligations. Now, when I tell you about the stickler, if you see here, he has 537 reviews at 4.9 stars. And I will tell you though, he does more than this. I've utilized him for way more than this. So he is very fluent with real estate overall. He has great English. So there's been times that he's able to quote me through the product for doing totally other things that I wouldn't want to do elsewise. So you can always ask a VA within a project VA within the platform if they do anything else. And I'm going to be honest, our selling and buying VAs, they have developed from being our project VAs. So you will definitely see, once you learn how they work and you work with them on a constant basis, that's kind of how they can develop, or you can go out and source those specific for that.
What's that level 2 right there on his profile? This engineer. What is that level 2 right there on his profile?
Where do you see the level 2? Because
where it says skip tracing right there.
Oh, that just means that it's not the basic skip tracing. So for instance, when he skip traces for you, he will ask you all the elements, and actually, let me show you all the elements that you're interested in. Some people only provide 1 to 2 numbers and email addresses. So he's showing you an example of like a very basic one, but he actually uses a system called TLO amongst all others. So he can get a lot of information and dispel that to you. He can even send the whole profile. So he's telling you that he is not the level 1, which is like the most basic, And it also goes off of the amount of jobs he's taken. He's got stamped with that kind of like that badge of approval that he's more advanced.
Nice. So this is.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. Any
Yeah,
questions around the family? What'd you say?
It's really cool. I just want to make sure before I continue on, I want to answer any questions.
Yeah, we'll probably have to hold the question to the end, Miss Engineer. This is gonna be we'll tackle them here. Roundup family, you know how this works. Put your questions over there on the right-hand side, and then we'll get to those at the end.
Okay, gotcha. I didn't want to. Okay, totally
Keep
fine.
grinding.
Okay, so now we have additional sites. You have Accelerate, and then you have Follow Up Boss, and then you have any other site that you want to Google real estate VAs. Now, these websites, Accelerate especially, is one that we have used in the past when just getting started. They are a little pricier with their VAs starting from $8 to $10 an hour. However, they are good. The reason being they allocate just to you. So they only take so many contracts for so many hours, and you get an agreed upon schedule beforehand. So let's just say they have one virtual assistant that is contracted already for Saturday through Tuesday. That means their availability, and they work 4 hours a week, defined from 8 to 12. So that means any time outside of that realm, they can contract for more, and they work around that time, but they will always be yours in that time. And that's essentially good, especially when you're trying to move out of that day-to-day kind of boots on the ground role, because if you contract them for 4 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and you have your office hours for returning calls is structured, right? Because on Friday, you tell everybody that your calls will be answered within 24 business hours, and that every, 8 to 12, they can answer and call your phones back. So then it's essentially like you have an in-person office, but you don't. And so your clients don't have to know that, but at that simple price, you'll have that virtual assistant there to do those things. In addition to doing these things, you do a campaign 2 to 3 times a month, possibly. But then what do you do in that time from there? Well, they run your entire business. And that's where your virtual assistant, that selling virtual assistant, that's the hybrid position, so to speak. But all of the others will derive from there as you do more volume. Okay, so we're going to keep on powering through. Oh, and I apologize, you guys. I'm going to take you back to the presentation. And I should have started from my current slide. All right, so once you find your virtual assistant, how do you hire them?
Yes.
So
yes.
So for your selling and virtual and buying virtual assistant, it should be a 4-step process. In your initial interview, and we'll provide you questions about, specific questions of what we ask, at least, because we ask the same ones every time. But it should be specifically related to their real estate experience. It should understand how many projects they are currently working on. How many of you guys work on rehab projects and you're hiring a contractor? Do you ask them how many jobs are they working on now?
You're daggone right.
Because if you don't get that understanding, you're going to be high and dry and work is not going to get done. That is the same thing in the VA world. They're trying to take on a hustle and take on as many tasks as they can, multitask, so to speak. And so you want to have a clear understanding. You also see, because they're in the package that we send you, there is a document that we send electronically to the virtual assistants that is roles and expectations, and they'll have to sign off on that, saying that they understand. So if they don't abide by those and we have to let them go, you'll be covered. It's almost like a CYA. You'll be covered because they completely said that they were going to do these things and they did not. So those will be the things you capture in that initial interview, is just understanding the projects they're currently working on, their communication styles. What methodology do they communicate with their clients? Is it through Google Hangouts? Is it through Slack or Skype? You want to make sure that you have the software, or If you don't have it, that they agree to communicate with you through the methodology that you dispel. Communication is key, you guys. And you should be communicating with your virtual assistant on a weekly basis. I have a meeting at the beginning of Monday with them just to clarify what we're going to do for the week and anything that comes over the week. However, you can customize that to your liking, but whatever it is, you want to make sure you set those expectations at the beginning. If you don't do anything with these people, they will not do any more than you have asked. They're just like a child. They're not going to do anything more than you ask because they'll allocate that attention elsewhere. You want to clarify desired pay. You want to understand first how much are they looking to get. And then, of course, you in your back of your head will understand and know what your budget is, but you do want to know kind of where their head is because you don't want to hire them too low, or you don't want to move forward with them if they expect something drastically different and then they won't do the work because they're not motivated.
Miss Engineer, I've had people tell me they want, $1 million, and I'm like, well, I've got this. Do you go back and forth with the negotiation, or do you, somebody says they want $15 an hour, or do you say, hey, well, I've got 10, or how does that go back and forth?
Oh, definitely. What I'll do is get an understanding of what you want up front, right? So we'll get an understanding of what you want up front, and I'll say, okay, that's been noted, and then move on with the interview process, because you'll be surprised. Money should not be your only factor for hiring or not hiring someone. Now there will be a negotiation realm because obviously, no, I'm not going to pay you $20 or $25. I can have a physical person there, but if we're determining between $6 to $10 and you are phenomenal, and that means I get my gift of time back and I can do other things or, be able to acquire more properties, network, explore other realms of real estate, I might just hire you because I'm confident that my business can keep running while I'm gone. So it just depends on how they perform moving on through the interview process, which leads us to our next part. There should be a writing test. The writing test should be, we ask them to write an ad for lease purchase. And you just pick a random listing online and then give that to them. And then say, we would like you to write an ad for Facebook, for Instagram, and for our website. Please write that. And what would you put in that, dispelling what facts? And let them be creative. I don't want to robotically tell them anything because especially for the selling virtual assistant who might still work as your buyer's virtual assistant, because it's very easy for them to work in tandem for that. That's not a detailed position that you have to be. It's just when you are doing a lot of volume, the BVA becomes very prevalent to kind of separate. So let them be creative and see what they can do. You will be surprised. They'll shock you. Some will be very detailed. Some will give you 6 bullet points. And in that, theoretically, you want to assess not only are there skills for writing that will tell you, can they communicate with you? Can they write a contract clearly? Or are they detailed? Are they going to capture all of that? All of that can be determined just from that writing test. And I want to know if you can do all those things first.
Wow. So they have the skill to do ads based on one that you gave them or based on their knowledge of lease options?
Based on, okay, so you're asking about the knowledge about lease purchase. I will give them that information as far as what it is. I'll just explain simply, a lease purchase is this. And from there, I want you to write an ad based off that information in the listing, and our price is this, and we want it at this percentage with this down payment. But what do you do from there? If somebody gives it, okay, so say I give you property A, and I tell you it's 300,000, we want 10% down, and that's it.
Okay, so you're trying to see where their level of knowledge is.
Yeah, because if they say that they've been doing real estate virtual assistant work for 3 years and they're stumped, or they come back and say, oh, from Zillow, this is a 5-bedroom, 3 home, and we want 300,000 and 10% down, and that's all they write. I'm sorry, I don't think you can think outside the box. Therefore, you really can't do my SBA. You really can't do that. So once they pass that, and I'll be honest, the reason why number 2 is before number 3 is because it weeds out all of the not serious buyers. It weeds out all of the people that are reaching out to you just because you posted maybe a desirable salary, or it seems like an easy job and they can add another one to what they have going to make more money. It weeds all of them out, and you'll get the best candidates from doing that one writing test. So moving on to number 3, after they pass the writing test, that means they've impressed you. So now you're going to do a mock phone call, and you're just going to use one of your scripts, and you're going to evaluate their flow moving through the script. At the same time, they're going to be able to capture the information in that Google document that's provided in the work instruction. You'll go ahead and just share the link with them from the Google Doc and give them rights to be able to edit it, and you'll have that mock phone call. So for instance, Chris, if I have a mock phone call with you and I dispel to you that, yes, I'm interested in selling my home. I'm having problems because I'm about 4 months behind on my payments, but I have $30,000 worth of equity in the house, and I don't want to leave, but I'll leave. I need about $5,000 to move, and I'm gonna have to move soon because school starts back in about a month. So I'm trying to get out as soon as possible, but I just don't know where to go. In that, your selling VA should have been able to capture, I've got equity. How much do I need to move? When do I need to move? And why am I in this situation? All of those things they should be able to capture. And it's not, as you'll see, the scripts they're conversational. However, it's clear where the line is underlined. That's the same piece or point that's captured in the Google document. So they'll know exactly whenever they get here, okay, type the answer. When they get here, type the answer. So if they can't capture that information, chances are they're not going to capture the information you need for your business. Gotcha. And then the final interview is just to confirm working expectations. You'll let them know, hey, you wowed me. We're great. So I want to go ahead and set these expectations. This is what you'll be held to, the documentation process of everything. And you want to gain that agreement. That's that piece that we sign. You want to gain that agreement of the understanding of responsibilities, and then you hire them. And that's where your negotiation phase, if they make it through all of that, then they're ready for negotiations. And I mean, you definitely can give what your ceiling is to how much you're willing to give. And then just look on their profile. You can see past jobs they have, and in Upwork, they show you amounts of previous jobs they might have done. So you can kind of go off of that knowing an average.
Okay.
So once they're hired, how do you bring them in? So you here, and when you guys receive this presentation, it'll be generic, remember? So we want to make this literally where you can deploy it directly in your business, but we want for you to see that example and understand. So you would want a boilerplate or something of that nature to explaining what you are in the business. You could even give this to your VA, but you want to make sure you quiz them and they understand who you are. Because what happens when you get on the phone for a seller that has a $600,000 house going into foreclosure, and they say, who are you? Well, I don't know. Or they can have this pulled up on their screen and they can read verbatim. They can pick a line or two and read out of it. Simple as that. Right. Well, what do? They can read verbatim and explain. Well, hi, Seller A. We are an investment company that offers creative solutions to help individuals buy and sell property. We have a team of investors and agents that are seasoned in real estate and market to handle every type of transaction possible. So you want to make it easy. And explaining what they do. What do? They will make calls. If your virtual assistant shuns at the fact of making calls, as you know, there are some people that just don't like to make calls. They don't need to be part of your business. Have them understand, and in their roles and expectations, they will be on the phone, period. They have to build relationships with clients, and they have to make sure they take pride in the information that they capture. If they do not capture their information, then it did not happen.
Mm.
So how do you break down? This is merely for reference from them to understanding how
Hey,
the business
Taylor.
is structured. And where does your VA fit into this entire process? So in the deal execution process, first you'll start on the selling side. And to be clear, just in case anybody came in a little late, the selling process is when you're acquiring property, whenever you're getting a property from a seller from whatever reason, via wholesale or pre-foreclosure, what have you. So you will market to your sellers, set the IVR, and then the Excel
Let me shoot
sheet,
my windows up in the car.
and
Speak
then
outside.
create messaging to be sent out. From there, once that campaign is released, your virtual assistant will completely kick in. You can train your VA to a point where they even handle the marketing aspect. We have ours on full autopilot just because it's the same thing that they do every time. So your selling VA will send out all your marketing material, and then once it comes back, they're able to record and capture all of the information into the sheet, the Google sheet. And then from there, they will follow up with each individual seller. They should be expected to make up to 50 calls a day, because they probably will only talk to about 8 to 15-ish people in that day. Most of them will be voicemails. And so with that being said, if they actually do get people on the phone, then they'll be able to capture the information. But typically, out of 50 calls, you might get 8 to 10 people on the phone. You don't want to be doing this. That's why it is crucial, because this is the most tedious part, is when you're sending out 1,000 leads and you might get 100 people that reply to you, and out of that, hope to get 5 to 10 deals. In order to do that, you will want to have someone else to help and someone to take over that entire process. And then from there, moving on, you'll go out, visit the property, take pictures and upload them to your CRM. Again, this will be generic for you, and it will say just to your CRM. But then from there, once that's done, you can notify your VA, and then from there, the VA takes it all the way to the end. That's it. So once you have the property and you have to get rid of it, what do you do with your buyer's VA? Or you could be your selling VA who's working as a hybrid, because remember, this part of the process is very simple. This is not a difficult process at all. They're just capturing information after it's marketed.
Gotcha.
So what they did in their interview, they wrote a listing. So they're going to list the home for sale. After they list the home for sale, they'll place the order for signs. From there, they'll work with your street team, and they'll have a document of everybody. We have a document of all of our passwords and all of the people that we work with, and just a quick one-liner about what they are. So from there, that's what they do. When the leads come in, they go into your system. For IVR, we use CallFire. The virtual assistant will go inside of the system, capture all of the leads inside a Google document, and it's inside the same one, and then it's a tab. And then from there, they will capture all of the information and whose down payment is qualifying. They will call those people back, and once they kind of really cipher through, is this what they want? Is this the home that they want? Then they'll pass them over to us. For non-qualified leads, they just go back on the list, and they're put into an email blast that says this home is already had a tenant buyer selected. You have been added to a list for follow-up homes. Please check back at Homes Today or Homes for Sale at AIS.com. And then from there, they'll be able to constantly be reminded, and then they go in this big pool. It's literally a Word document, but a big pool for marketing of what they send out every time we get a new house.
So are we gonna give them the script that they're gonna ask the sellers, Miss Engineer?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So there are several scripts. There is the selling side. There are a bunch of scripts on the selling side because there is different scenarios on what they would have to ask a seller. So you'll receive all of those scripts. And what happens is you will assign a script to each type of transaction. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So for instance, there's a short sale script for them to position a short sale.
I see.
There's a pre-foreclosure script.
Gotcha.
Position that. And so they'll have each one of these, but you have to train them how to identify what those are. And when you train them, it's simply by reading them the description and giving them an example of what it is and doing mock calls with them when you train them. That's it. It's running through the script and training them. The training process should take no more than 2 days to do. And I'd say spending about an hour and a half on the phone with them on each day and running through the scripts with them.
Gotcha.
So now you move on.
They get that in a Word document?
That it's actually a PDF,
Okay, so Roundup, you guys are gonna get that in a PDF, so you can give that to them.
not a Word document.
So this is
PDF.
gonna pre-screen them for us. Basically, this is pre-screening.
Well,
to
you
see.
do that in the interview process first.
I'm talking about not for the VA, for the seller, because this is buyers.
This is the buying side. So we've already moved past
Buyers.
the selling side.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, for buyers, yes.
So for buying side, so for the buying side, there is still a script to read out. Now it's a very simplified script. It's basically saying we're calling, we're returning your call. You inquired about a property that we have listed for sale, and then it's running through. We want to verify this, and this, and this that you left on the IVR. And then, of course, a conversation is never going to go like that. They're going to deviate and they're going to go and say, okay, well, I was interested in the home, but not this particular home. This doesn't work for me, etc. So from there, that's how you determine. But this is a very simplified process. The only time that it becomes unmanageable for one VA to do, meaning you have an SVA and then once the marketing's out and you've acquired homes, now you're trying to sell and you want to use them in tandem, is when the volume is so high. Because on the buying side, the leads come in like crazy because you're marketing on social media, from signage, from your website. So leads come in like crazy per property. So it becomes overwhelming. And you really can bring a project VA in, say if you have to bring 2 to 3 of them in at a time, if you're marketing, let's just say 4 properties at one time, you can easily, from using these documents in here, bring a project VA in and just make sure that they can speak English well and take notes clearly. You can easily bring a project VA in to do this until you grow your team to that. But eventually you want to grow to having your same set of VAs so that it runs seamless. We are able to run seamless without having to check or question too many things. Now, occasionally we do, but I can tell you every last VA that we have now is been brought on by me and I monitor them. You need to stay in communication with them. But as long as you do that, everything is good and you can keep rolling and flowing as said. I focus most of my energy on ensuring that I'm overseeing the coordinations of closing, because the closing piece is what we all want to get to, is the closing table. So I'm able to delegate all of those small tasks to our VAs and focus on closing and collection. Simple as that.
Gotcha.
So training for VAs. Training will be provided by doing mock calls. Sorry, guys. There are specific scripts that are going to be provided. They're also provided with the pre-template sheets. Now, you guys, you do not have to do this, but let me tell you, money is a motivating factor. If you're making at a minimum of $10,000 or more, and most of you are making more, there is, in my opinion, there's no reason that you can't pay somebody $500. $500 seems minuscule to us in America, but $500 is
That would be like $5,000.
exactly like getting $5,000 in the Philippines. So I will tell you the reason why, like I have 2 VAs that we've had now for 3 years. They have not went anywhere. I kid you not. They have not went anywhere. There are some that like moved on and doing different things. These 2 VAs, I'm sure their family eats very well over there because they get every transaction that I close, they get $500. And that's nothing compared to what you make. But I guarantee you that that will motivate the hell out of a VA. So we pay for every transaction closed $500, and for every client that goes under contract. Now, you approve the contracts. So you would have already followed up with that seller if you have questions, or if the contract's clear as day, you get a signed contract. If you get a signed contract, you are closing. Correct?
Yeah.
So we pay for every client that goes under contract from their call $5.
That's nice.
It's
I like
nothing.
that.
It's nothing, but it's motivation up front to do the job. $500 at the end of closing is nice, but closing takes a while to get there.
Yeah.
But the motivation, that's why I said determine their motivating factor. But I will tell you, it's always been money for us as far as our VAs are concerned. And I'm
That's
telling
cool.
you,
It's smart to do that, man. I mean, it's like an incentive almost.
it is, because
I
$5
never
is
thought
a
about
lot
that.
to them. Like, for instance, the gentleman I showed you from a project coordinator, he did 1,000 skip trace for me this month. He did 1,000 for just our pre-foreclosure list. And in that, I gave him a $10 tip, and he sent me about 7 thank yous. I kid you not. He just kept saying, thank you,
Wow.
thank you so much. Normally, I think I do the recommended one, which is like $3 or $5. And this time I was just so happy because he got it done in like 7 hours.
Wow.
And he's doing these by hand. Now, I don't know how many sellers do it. And when I say sellers, meaning they reference the VAs, the project VAs on Fiverr as a seller. But he gives us all of the TLO whole document sheets. And he doesn't have to do that because you have to individually save that. You can't do like a whole thing. And he did that times 1,000.
Wow.
So that was very appreciative. So I gave him a bigger tip, but he was just so thankful. So if they get $5 for every client that goes under contract, well, it looks like he might be getting 5 to 10, 15 contracts that month. That will incentivize somebody to learn the business, to learn the transactions. So we'll keep going. And then these are just the different types of deals. It explains the short sale, being able to receive a lower price on a house based off what the bank will accept, lesser than what's owed and valued, subject to the existing mortgage, taking over that property without having to purchase it whole, taking control and not liability. Wholesaling, just being able to get a home at a lower price and reassigning it. This is what you'll use to teach them. You have retailing, lease options, and acts. Pre-foreclosures and vacant properties. So it is important that they understand each and every one of those transactions. Or maybe not each and every, well, no, I think it is because ours knows them, but at least the ones that you do most commonly. But what you don't want to happen is have deals come in that they don't work because they didn't know one of these, rather you do them frequently or not. So I think it's important to do for you to teach them all.
That's cool.
So now let's dive into some fun stuff. Oh, I left out this piece. This is just explaining mindsets of sellers. And again, this is just more context that you're providing around understanding how your sellers operate. I think out of them all, a home that's listed for sale or that's not the primary residence, they have more of an open mindset because they are already trying to sell. So they're semi-motivated. Sometimes they'll refer you to the agent. That's okay. You can approach them. That's what you're telling your VA. But typically, they're open to listen so that they can get an offer. Homeowners that do not live in their homes, they're most open. And then this is getting your VA. That's where we say your VA has to have thick skin, because to us, some of our most lucrative deals are pre-foreclosures and probate.
High stress.
Exactly.
Well, basically, what I'm just looking at this like these people are really intertwined. It's not like they just go do this, go this. They have an understanding of this.
Yes, this, you guys, just because they're virtual, imagine if you had an office. This is your actual employee, just 1097 technically, but it's your actual employee.
Yeah, I think we had it. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, I'm just speaking for my Roundup members. I think we are looking to hire somebody, go do this, go complete that task and come back. And I think it's a lot more detailed, basically, from what you're doing here.
Oh, yes. So you guys, we're in a master class. I didn't want to bring to you a regular, you can go hire somebody to help with the skip trace and to help with the email blast and the text blast.
Yeah.
No, because those things, though they're annoying, you can still do most of those things within, an hour or two, and you have to do it multiple times in a month, but you can do those. But you truthfully should be able to have a staff without having the overhead of an office and the overhead of having somebody that's charging American rates. And believe it or not, if you must have somebody that's here, for instance, you might have in your head, I still want an American to do the work. That's fine. There are Americans on Fiverr and on Upwork as well who charge regular rates and who have phenomenal work, but they just work from home. Think about how many moms, because I know, for instance, I've interviewed some people that I've brought in just for a certain time, and think about how many moms are out there that just sign on to here and to do the work. I will tell you something that's very beneficial. Now, we have since done away with this virtual assistant, but I'm going to give you an example of a time that we did hire an American virtual assistant. There was a time that we did short sales prevalently, like all the time. And you and I both know short sales are cumbersome and they take some time. I don't want to see a short sale unless it's $1 million property that we're getting for 600,000 or 700,000. Otherwise, I don't want to see a short sale. But there was a time where we did many of them. You guys, if you go on Upwork right now, upwork.com, and type in real estate contract negotiator, you're going to get a plethora of people. So there was somebody to handle every phase of that short sale virtually. You cannot tell me that if you can have 15 short sales going at a time, which we have had.
Oh my Lord, that'd be a nightmare.
Them the whole time processing all of that paperwork. You can't say that's not bond. That's gold right there. And all we did was take the closing, proceeds from a closing, and loaded our account for it. Had a pre-agreed time, because there's settings inside of Upwork where it says this person can work this day, they can bill for this much, they can do this much, and that's it. And give them the access they need to your systems and let them go.
Nice. Nice.
So you can create a entire virtual office. This course is not for the person that just came here to understand how to get somebody else to do some tasks that you find repetitious and mundane and you don't want to touch that. No, this is about creating a team virtually.
Okay.
And then
Nice.
eventually you will grow to have maybe that 1 or 2 boots on the ground person per state, depending on how many states you operate in, just so that they can physically go to the houses. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little bit of a gold nugget here, which probably will be covered in, other courses, but utilize your local realtors for whoever you need for boots on the ground. Get really chummy and good. Maybe let them list a property or 2 for you with a local realtor. And that is who you use to go out and meet these people and take pictures or whatnot, because you'll see that I said, we go back here. What do I say right here? The SBA is to send and receive signed customer package before the appointment.
Mm-hmm.
They're under contract. Unless they want a lawsuit, nobody can undermine you. Right?
Gotcha. I see.
So for that local assistant, let it be a realtor. Cut them 0.5 or 0.25 commission if you want, or just cut them a $200 check, just like they get for a BPO.
Yeah, that's what they used to get either. I mean, I don't even know if it's that much.
Oh,
So
yeah, about $200 here now. Now, I don't know what it used to be, but about $200 here. I'm just saying, if you know you got a contract underway, typically that contract is set to close, because if you're wholesaling it, you're just waiting on your buyer side. And if you're not wholesaling it, if it's either something you're gonna fix up or whatnot, then you're set to close, like you're coming to close. So go ahead and just save yourself from having to be in the field. You guys need to eventually be somewhere in Exuma's, Bahamas, or you should be, in the Virgin Islands, being able to be confident that your business has not stopped because you're gone.
Or just making decisions. For me, I just need to be making decisions. I mean, I don't, just decide.
Oh, definitely. In this, that's what you grow to. But I know a lot of people feel that if they are not physically there, then nothing's moving in the business.
That's so challenging to get over. That is such a big mental thing to get over. We all think we need to be moving and be there, knowing we're the best. I used to think I'm the best. I'm like, it just takes time to get over that.
So then that comes with a mindset shift and paradigm shift within all of us, you guys. It's to say, we do an amazing job. We're great at what we do, but go ahead and delegate and see what goes wrong. It's easy to fix it. What's the worst that can happen? They write something wrong. So.
Yeah.
So the mindset, you want to make sure that they have their mindset right, you guys. They need to be knowledgeable. They need to have thick skin. They need to be relentless. You want them to be you without being you. And they need to document everything. Simple as that. This deck is provided to them along with their work instructions. So now let's take a look at those.
So the document, is there something that we give them for the documentation thing, or is that provided by the VA service?
Say that again.
When we document how they're documenting this stuff, is that something that's we're providing? Okay, gotcha.
So next, that's in the work instruction. There is a work instruction for both buyers. For both buyers and sellers. So keep in mind, you guys, when you receive these documents tomorrow, they will be completely generic for your business. They will have all the verbiage there, and they'll have, like, for instance, the introductions, the purpose, and all of that information. And the only thing that you will have to replace is where you see highlights of where you insert your information. So you will get all of that. But is it important that you have work instructions so that they don't deviate from what you created? There is no misunderstanding. There is no I thought this, not at all. So you want an introduction as a quick reference of what you all spoke about. So these are the transactions. We're starting on the buying side. These are the transactions. Well, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Let's go in order. So on the selling side, these are the type of transactions that you should know about. So you should know about each and every one of those. And then you're going to break down how you return calls from the campaign.
Can you zoom in on that a little bit, Miss Engineer, on that bottom right-hand side, like maybe 120?
See if I can get in.
I think they can close that navigation bar too.
Okay, let's try that. So on there, so that's just the document that they enter it in. You're going to receive it actual, and actually here, I have that up. So I have an actual document. That's an example, because you'll have this Excel, because some people do it in Excel and then all you have to do is upload it in Google Docs. We'll send you both, and it's up to you on which one you want to utilize. So you have on the seller side, all the information that they will need to capture, from the date, the address, the situation, the asking price. Will they accept monthly payments for their equity? Their payment status, is it vacant, occupied, anything else that they need to capture. And then on the buyer side, now I did just steal this, so I stole this, but so on the buyer side, now as you see, our VA on this side, she is actually Colombian. I think that's her. Yeah, she's Colombian. And it is strategic why we hired her that way. We are based out of Georgia. So we have a high Spanish speaking population. And so we have a bilingual VA. She makes $8 an hour because she is bilingual.
Gotcha.
Okay. So
should seem like, man, even around here, I mean, just the Spanish speaking community is just growing, in my opinion. I mean, that's all over.
Exactly. Now that's leveraging, because they are a very high clientele of ours. And I don't speak Spanish fluently. I understand it, but I don't speak it fluently. And Mr. Transaction Engineer didn't speak it at all. So how do we connect with those clients without cannibalizing them? And that leads me to my next point, you guys.
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the last tenant buyers. I mean, I've no doubt you're getting a bunch of tenant buyers down there, just like we are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. They got the money. They're the contractors. They're the ones doing the HVAC. Is that what you're seeing?
Yep. They have the money. And that's what I'm trying to say is that, you guys, why would you spend your time doing this? Just why?
Good point. Good point.
You shouldn't be. How are you going to turn? I mean, it's nice to make 25, like this person was one of the ones, $25,000. It's nice to make that in a month, but wouldn't it be nice to make 4 or 5 $25,000 checks in a month? But you can't do that if you have to go through and sift through 200 calls every time you place a sign out for a property. You can't do that. So why not delegate this kind of work? And this one here is going to be the first line of work that you delegate, because you can easily hand this off. And then you still operate as that selling VA, but eventually you'll be able to develop either this one or a new VA into that selling VA, because that's fine. You will find that you get so much relief in your business once you get a seasoned, trained selling VA. It's over. by then. It's over.
So,
And you'll be
go ahead.
surprised.
Is it okay for them to taste these calls here, or do you think they should go ahead and delegate them from the jump, Mr. Engineer?
So for the selling side, I think that and it will be outlined in your training portion, that you need to make calls with your selling VA. You need to spend time with them. I'd say at least 2 days of making calls with them for about an hour to hour and a half. And then from there, you are good to go with still probably testing them out. I know for me, I would still test them out once a week just to make sure they're confident. You check in with them once a week already.
Mhm.
So you gain their, you gain their expectations and understanding of, okay, what's going on? What do you have questions? What are you comfortable with? What are you not? Again, your selling VA is going to be very experienced. For this person, for your buyer's VA, you can let them go within
Just let 'em go.
probably, you can do 30 to 45 minutes, excuse me, guys, of training,
Mhm.
and then let them go, because it's very simple. The script is simple. It's very simple as to what they're asking and what they're capturing. And then from there, you can throw a filter when you get the data, although they're already going to do it and highlight, who it is. But when they get the data, you can see now, all right, I want to sort from, as a matter of fact, this sort, all right, and I want to sort by, where is it? Oh, that's the problem. So that you can ask the VA to validate this data, but basically I would take out, there's a function or a formula, or you can just do it by hand, take out all of the writing and then sort by highest to lowest, or you can just literally look in here and see, okay, who all qualifies. In this list, that's the only person that I want to see or talk to. So boom,
Mhm.
that's who we're going to reach out to.
Hmm.
And that's it. So for that side, there's not that much training that goes into this side. The only thing is making sure that they capture the right information. And once they do, because keep in mind, okay, so let's go back to our work document. So on the buyer side, they are capturing information, and this is a simple one. Remember, oh, let me close this so I can zoom in so you guys can see. But this is the simple one. So, zoom in. Okay, so that just shows the phone number screen. However, I do want to go ahead and show you guys so you can get a true depiction of what's happening. Because if you're not using CallFire today, you might want to check. CallFire today, you might want to go and check into using it. But I just want to show you what they'll be doing.
Man, thank you. This is so cool.
Phone numbers, IVR. All right. So you can see there's analytics available quickly for you to be able to see what's going on with your marketing campaign. But we'll go ahead and take a deep dive in. This is what your VA will be doing. Why would you sit here and listen to these calls and capture information? That's how this list is built.
Mhm.
Is literally capturing the information from the calls. These are all voicemails that they've left, and they're entering them in on a sheet. And they should be able to do about 50 to 100 probably at a time. I know for me, if you're not putting in 50 within 30 to 45 minutes, there's an issue.
Mhm.
So what are you doing? And then there will be a coaching moment. You'll get one more and then you're gone. Again, that'll be in the expectation document.
Gotcha.
Because all they're doing is capturing that information. Once they get all of that information, and it says it in the document. Also review text messages. So review recordings, enter information in spreadsheet, review text messages, and call any text message numbers if applicable. So there's no reason that there should be a misunderstanding, because if we go through text messages, all the information is there, you guys. So they need to reach out to them, because they're not going to capture everything via text. So they need to reach out to them and clarify what's in the script that translates to this list. So it's a very simple job, but can you not see how this would take so much time away from you? Why would you not delegate that? And the whole process of it can seem consuming, right? If you sit down and think, man, I'm tired of doing all of this, but I can't even think about trying to start and hire somebody. I mean, what do I give them? What do I tell them? And how are they going to know this? It's all right here, you guys.
Nice.
Trust me, this is years and years of trial and error, and having the solutions rolled out and having an effective team.
Nice. Wow, this is a lot of information.
I know, that's why I wanted to be able to kind of answer questions as I go, because it is a lot of information. But
we got them here. The questions they're all coming in. Yeah, we got them.
Let's go ahead and dive into them.
You want to do that? Yeah, let's. Okay, we can do that when we start from the. Yeah.
Yes, because I feel like it's so much to kind of get through that.
Luckily, they're going to have the video, Miss Engineer. They can rewind it at any time. So.
Okay, awesome.
Roundup family, thank you for your patience tonight. Thank you. We're here pouring into you, Frank. Oh, I went ahead. Thank you. What do we got here? Oh, Trey Boss Houses. When do you use Upwork versus Fiverr? Do you have a preference for that, Miss Engineer?
I do. Solely for your project VAs, I use Fiverr. When you're trying to find more intricate VAs that do the work you're selling and you're buying VA, Upwork. Upwork, it's a little bit more expensive, but they do have more of the seasoned professionals on there. So Upwork definitely for that.
Mm-hmm. Does the VA, Susan, hey Susan, does the VA have or does the VA already have to have a phone system that works for calling in the US? Or
yes, and they do. Yes, and they do.
Is that something that we are is that one of the questions on the hiring packet?
So it's not a question on the hiring packet, because it's one of the qualifying,
Understood.
how do I put it? It's inside of their description and like outline. There's bullet points to say everything that they offer, and that is one of them. So on Upwork. Now, if you're going outside of Upwork and Fiverr, then I would definitely recommend you ask that question. But if you're going within those two systems and platforms, they already indicate everything. They indicate what systems they have access to. They indicate what systems they've used before. They indicate, they indicate everything. So you know what? While we'll go ahead and go to our next question. But while we do that,
bring it up.
Pull one up. Mm-hmm.
Good question, Susan.
That is a great question.
D'Anthony, hey D'Anthony, when he's doing text message marketing to other people that says yes, just give them to the VA and let them do the rest after they say yes?
Yes.
So they're going to schedule the appointment for him to go out. The VA is going to take it from there to schedule the appointment.
Yes. So the VA, okay, so let's go back to our presentation.
Good question. That's a good question, guys. Do you think?
Yeah, they have great questions. All righty. So the VA will follow up with the lead and set the appointment with the client. The realtor, local assistant, or you will go out. However, the VA will capture that customer package before anybody goes out to the property.
And
guys,
we're giving them that customer packet.
Oh, yes, yes. So can I pull that up too?
Well, we might have to see. I mean, I just want to make sure that we have it in the thing.
Oh,
when we
yes,
give them
we
the link
do.
here.
So you guys are gonna love our client package. It is amazing. But basically, we have two different versions. It might be three, but I think we combined all distress sales into one, so it's two. I have to check with my VA just to see. But there's two different versions, and one is for a regular type sale or one with equity that's not distressed, and then there's a distressed package. But that includes the cost to sell, that includes the actual contract, and then it includes just an explanation again of the type of deal that we're trying to do in that process.
Okay.
I think the key in this last question is to make sure that they understand that the VA will follow up with the lead, we'll set the appointment, and then we'll send the documentation out and get it signed. And nobody should be visiting properties until they get signed paperwork back. Do not waste your time doing that. Please don't. And don't waste your money doing it either if you're not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you went back up to the text message thing. Is that where we're going back to? Or where we going? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After they say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So after they said yes, are we talking about on the selling or the buying side?
Oh man. Well, I guess he said on text message, so that's going to be for our sellers, I would think. Are we text messaging buyers? I don't know what.
Mm-hmm. You do both.
I mean, we're doing that, but I'm thinking, D'Anthony, you're talking about sellers, I would think.
Sellers. So if we're talking about sellers, then yes, that's where we go back. So this is a kind of like an example of sellers replying via text message.
Mm-hmm.
So once they are the VA here, if you see here, deal execution, they will follow up with those leads using the lead follow-up documentation. So then let's take a look at the documentation, because remember, this is a seamless process, you guys. So returning calls. Each client should be called back. Your conversation needs to determine if they're a good fit for the program. You'll be expected to screen the candidate and use the provided scripts as they are applicable to the marketing campaign. Criteria for each home is in a separate information document, and they're expected to learn the information to determine on calling back the clients. Upon our approval, they'll submit the offers of the homes that wish to move forward, and provided examples of the contracts will already be given to them and should be filled out according. And once complete, the contracts are sent to us, and then we go ahead and approve them, and then they'll send them out from DocuSign.
I'm
So
just
it's
thinking, go ahead.
seamless process.
And I'm just thinking, Miss Engineer, if they're going out or they're talking over the horn and they mess up, it's just like with any other job. I mean, it's okay for them to stumble a little bit. I mean, they can just tell the person, hey, I'm just new to the job.
Yeah. I mean, and that's all they have to say is that they're new to this. You guys, we're not trying to make them out to something that they're not. If they say they have real estate experience, they're going to have a general understanding of how to come into your business and work. Now, understanding exactly what you guys do, that's going to be a point of differentiation.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, they're doing something that they already were doing.
Nice.
I'm trying to figure out how to get into my Upwork. I haven't had to go in there in ages, you guys, because we already have our people.
Yeah, they're changing the system a lot too. Now, you know, they have a monthly fee now.
I don't know, because see, our people have been taken. So, you know, they tell you don't contract outside, but we went ahead and did it. We've been with them so long.
It's almost like you know them and like you do the work.
Yeah. This is, okay. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. We'll go ahead and just play with Upwork and create an account and go in, because I mean, it's amazing what you can see on, you know, what they can and cannot do and hiring them on a full-time, part-time basis, project basis, etc. You can set their cadence for their schedule, how much they make, if they can work overtime, essentially, what they can do. You set the expectations, you can market for the job on there. I mean, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
And I wonder, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and reset my password.
Great, yeah, I'm gonna go to the next question. Trey buys houses. Hey, how do you train someone to do something you've never done before yourself? Good question. He's never done any cold calling.
You've never done cold calling before. How do you train somebody? You follow the blueprint that's been created for you already. You don't have to deviate from it. And then the other half of it is you may not have ever done something before, but you are hiring somebody that already has. So you're, again, just hiring somebody that has this experience and that has already done it. They're just trying to understand how it's applicable to your business. That's all. But anybody that you're hiring for a virtual assistant, for a position, they need to have already done it. If they, and you'll determine that from the mock call that you do in the interview. If not, run, stay clear.
Susan D. Hey, but do they have to already be familiar with how to set up a phone system for US calls or texts?
Yes.
Oh, we said that. Okay.
And they'll indicate that inside. That's why I've got to get in the system. So I'm going to go ahead and reset my password, guys. That way it'll answer it a lot better for you, because I see that's a reoccurring question, and we want to make sure that you guys leave with everything you have. So yeah, let's move on to the next question, and then we'll come back to that as soon as I get
D'Anthony Dupree. Hey, D'Anthony. Well, are they going to get the property lead sheet so that to fill out when they talk to the seller?
They won't fill out the property lead sheet. They're going to fill out the Google document that has been translated from the property lead sheet. So you will get both so that they have what they're referencing. However, they're going to capture that information inside a Google Doc instead of the actual sheet.
They're gonna put it in themselves.
They're going to put it in themselves. So basically, imagine having your screen, because when I do having your screen and you have, because you can put a split, right? You can have two documents side by side on your one screen, and you're asking information off of this sheet and you're filling it in the Google Doc, and it goes in the ascending order based off how it's asked in the sheet. That's it. So you guys, we're in 2019. We're no longer filling out individual sheets. We're not printing and writing, and we're not even filling out individual sheets. The whole point is to build an actual list that's sortable and filtered, and being able to be filtered out by certain values so that it's easy to identify information.
He wants that property lead sheet, D'Anthony.
Oh, you will be provided with it, but
they have to upload it though.
Right. No. They're going to be provided with the property information sheet. Don't get me wrong. But our recommendation is that you do not train your virtual assistant to enter that information separately. You would want that information to be in that Google document. But if you choose to do that in your business, that's totally fine. If you want to create a fillable, or if you like, I'll let you guys decide. If you want me to turn our property information sheet into a fillable document, I can do that. And then that way, each time they're capturing information, they're just putting it in the fillable sheet, and then they could save it to your Google Drive that you've shared with them. You can do it that way. I can be honest with you. We used to do it that way. So that was the first turn. When I tell you guys, we've tried it all.
I like the way you got it. It's all on one.
Exactly. I promise you, we've tried it all. We used to do the old school printout, write, keep a binder of, and then we moved to that where I said, okay, I can turn this into a fillable PDF. So then our VA would literally type everything in that sheet and then save it. And then I'd have a whole, at the time we were using OneDrive, so a whole OneDrive full of a bunch of sheets that I have to click in individually. That still becomes tedious because I want to know what's going on. But if I have that Google Doc, which is what our most thing that we moved to in about the last year and a half, I'd say, in that Google Doc, it works seamlessly because you can easily, obviously, you're going to go to certain things. For instance, beds. Under the beds column 5, if I want to mark it out for, because I know I have a buyer that only wants a 5-bedroom home, you can hit a filter. And then out of 1,000 leads, you might have 20 that are 5-bedroom homes. Boom. That's what you wanted. Or you have a buyer that you know wants a home that's under $250,000. So under the asking price, boom, or under the what's old price, boom. Okay, they can assume that they can afford the down payment on that. That's the point of building the list, you guys. Trust me. The reason why this is a valuable masterclass is because we have already done the legwork. We've made the mistakes. We recovered from them, and now we have the seamless process. So you are more than welcome to do it however it works best for you. But trust me, tried and true, we've tried it all.
D'Anthony is asking, does he pay the seller VA while he's training them?
Do you pay the seller VA while you're training them? You sure do. Or at least we do. As soon as you hire them, they start.
Yep. On the job training. Tayman says he pays $100 for a yes or no on a recorded call and $250 if they close it.
Oh, say that again, you guys, because I like that feedback. What did you say? You paid how much?
Tayman says he pays $100 for a yes or a no on a recorded call, and if they close, he pays them $250.
So, okay.
I don't know if that's a yes.
I would like if we can ask the question back to them if you pay $100 for that yes, right? Has it ever been a time that you got the yes but then didn't get the contract?
Yeah, so I'm thinking they just go out. You can have 10 or 20 of those in a week, right?
Exactly. That's what I would be scared of, you guys, is that you want to make sure that you get that seller's signature on that contract first. That way, you know you got yourself a deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I charge you with. And I agree that $100 is a lot to them, right? But I mean, I don't know how many people, are just starting out. Everybody's at different levels. The $5 definitely motivates them, because if it's 5 times 10, they're going to get 50. If it's 5 times 20, then they're going to get 20 contracts done that week, right? So we would want to motivate them, but kind of at the minimal cost to you. You won't. It's just that's. I mean, if it works for you, keep doing it. But,
Cleaner 23 wants to know Call Fire central calling system that the VAs use for making calls and recording calls. I'm recording voicemails and texting.
I'm so happy that I got in here, you guys.
You're in?
Almost, because now I can explain it. It'll make a lot more sense. Alrighty. Let me go back to sharing the screen so we can take a deep dive. That way it'll make some more sense, you guys.
Yeah, you can just briefly go through it. I mean, you can probably see post a job, and then you can see who's out there or hire now.
Alrighty. So okay. So as you see, the higher ones, they're based here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all higher ones. And then you can filter out by everything that you might want, right? So I would want a high success rate. I'll take as long as they've earned at least $1,000 before. Mm-hmm.
But that's a minimum people you want them to
Mm-hmm.
make
So
money,
it's just showing you that work that they've done. I definitely want them to have done work within 1 month
Mm-hmm.
or even 2 weeks, but within 1 month. I want to make sure that they've done some work before, so at least 100 hours billed. And let's see, I want 10 and below. So you see, it's only 7 that are 10 and below. I'm just trying to see. Okay, making sure I have it. Alrighty. So this person says she's a sales funnel and digital marketer. Data entry. A top rated assistant with the 99% success. I'm gonna go to some of my saved.
Did you worry about the country of origin for that?
I think I did because it didn't pull back. I'm gonna go to my already saved freelancers, ones that I know I've used before. So for instance, let's go look at this one. So this person tells you how many hours they work. They explain everything that they do. Since this person is only $3 an hour, I can tell you already that she does not get on the phone.
She's not what on the phone?
She doesn't get on the phone. She is more of your admin and project virtual assistant.
I'm cool with that. Then we put her in that box.
Exactly. But when you come up for more, then you get to a person that does get on the phone, right? So now she tells you everything that she does. Appointment setting, team management, surveys, holiday planning, all of these things that she does.
How do you deal with the 13-hour difference in the Philippines? Is it just, are you... Oh,
$13 is $8.75 an hour.
I'm talking about how are you dealing with the 13-hour time difference? I'm sorry.
They get on in your time. So though they have that time difference, their active hours are at night. They're working overnight. So they work during our daytime hours and they must sleep during the day, but they work overnight. So here, do you see this? They already have a phone number verified.
Nice. I like that. Y'all get that Roundup family. Already got a phone number on there. That is nice.
They are fluent in English. And open office hours. So there. And then, do you guys see this description? So I would be more proactive to interview her, right? Look at all of the experience that she says. She's a lead researcher. She's a project manager assistant, virtual service assistant, real estate assistant with these sets of people, property lead scraper, CRM management. You definitely would want to interview her. She's worked for 883 hours.
You can see that time Roundup.
Uh-huh.
8, what is it? I can't, 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. out there.
Then they have a portfolio. So this is really good because they show you she's worked with Podio. For many of you that have been in the business for a while, you'll know that's one top CRM system. And it's a little bit more of a complex CRM system because you have to build it to fit. She's worked with these mortgage people, and she's even letting you know the names of the people. So you can reach out to them and verify and validate her work.
Mm-hmm.
Then these are tests that she's passed. So this would be a red flag to me. If she did not pass the call center test below average, I'd give her a chance and interview her. But if she didn't pass mine, then we're not good. Here's her employment history, then her education. You guys, there's full information on these people on here.
Mm.
And it almost becomes fun because you really can kind of hone down into who you're looking for. And again, if that person is that real wow factor, so let's go back to our SBA. If that person is that real wow factor, I'm going to pay a higher rate for that person that is that real wow factor because they're alleviating me out of my time, right? So
Yeah.
I'll pay for it then. But for your buying VA, you don't have to spend that much time. And going back to what we talked about earlier, let me go ahead and search negotiator. Contract.
Is this some saved people you had?
Oh yeah, that's why it's not.
All right.
Sorry.
So round up, this is people. This is you see she's got that saved. These are people she's already kind of looked through.
Some of them
She-
I've already worked with before.
Yeah, you've handpicked them already.
Mhm. Okay, so do let me type in short sale. Sorry.
Mm.
There we go. Okay, so he's a little pricey. He's not gonna get that because he's a paralegal, so he's a little pricey. But let's find a short sale negotiator. And they may or may not be as lucrative because again, short sales have kind of died down.
Mm.
But at one point in time, they were real estate negotiators. Oh, I have it filtered for US only. That's why. Now that makes sense. Okay. I'm like, what's going on? So
Tell
believe
them
it
what
or
you
not,
just did. Tell them what you
I've used Candace
still
before.
got it up there. U.S. only. You got to click it over.
Oh, I clicked it off. I did.
Okay.
So now they're coming up. So
There you go.
I've actually hired Candace before. So she does do very well in the short sale realm. She's just not as great on the phone and being in follow-up, basically, and following up. But she's an amazing negotiator and she's an amazing person to stay up to date on your task. So everything else that you do. Yeah, so you can see here, her readiness test, independent, all of those things she's higher. Her call center, she's still in the top 30%, but for us, she wasn't, I don't want to say proactive enough. She didn't have enough grit.
She didn't have enough what?
Grit. So meaning like that, that intenseness, that follow-up, that fierceness, that not aggressiveness, but maybe more so assertiveness. Because again, we're dealing with sellers that are lackadaisical on their own time sometimes. Everybody's not going to hand it to you. You have to get it out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we have worked with her before.
All right. So the cleaner 23. She wants to just call fire. The
Oh, it
central.
says it here.
I'm sorry.
It says it here. Passed higher. I passed higher.
I'll pass. Oh, okay.
Okay. So does anybody else have additional questions?
Yeah, I never got the cleaner wanted to know, is call fire going to be the system for the VAs use for making calls, recording voicemail and texting? Those are two different easy. I'll let
Okay,
you take it.
we use two different, yes, we do. We use easy texting because this is the email blast out and because we have great rates with them. We've been using them for so long. And then we use call fire on the buying side. So on the selling side, we use easy texting. We use that for sending a voice message as well as sending a text message.
Hmm.
And then we use CallFire for data collection. So whenever we place a number, this is our number, you call it and we collect all of our leads on the buying side from signs, from websites, etc.
You got that, the Cleaner 23? Jermaine Artist wants to say thank you, Miss Engineer, from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
How long do you think it would take to get it all set up and running?
Well, it depends because, again, I'm going to make your stuff generic. But if you'd like, I'm happy to kind of just blur out, yeah, that's what I'll do. You guys, I'm going to give you literally a rollout VIP package so that you can really understand. So what I'll do is blur out our proprietary information in ours and then still provide you with a blank copy to make adaptable to your business.
Got it.
But then that way you'll have a full depiction of how we run our services, what systems we use,
Right.
etc. And then that'll work, for you as best as it can. And then we're always available. Mr. Transaction Engineer, he has all of his information out there. So reach out. We're happy to work with you, help you in any way, capacity, shape, form. But you guys will have a very lucrative package coming to you.
Tay Man wants to know, what are the functions you use in CallFire? Basically, because it's not a CRM, or is it?
No, I'm not using it as a CRM. You can use it for campaigns, so marketing campaigns, for broadcasting messages. You can also use it for data analytics. Now, that's a cool piece that we don't use it for. So meaning if you had, let's just say you can get 10 numbers with CallFire, right? And then you assign those numbers out to different campaigns and you can track the efficacy of each campaign. And that's when you take it into more of a deeper dive. We don't utilize it in that way, but there are other functionalities that you use CallFire. We just use it for IVR, and you guys will really find that using it as an IVR is key because the other IVR systems that are built just for an IVR, they are so expensive. It defeats the purpose of your overall process. Like literally they'll charge you like $1,000 or $2,000 for setup, just to set up the IVR system. And then normally it's like $100 to $200 a month to run it.
Yeah.
With CallFire, you just sign up, you buy credits. I think like each credit, or maybe for 50 credits is like $5 or something like that. Don't quote me, you have to go check, but something like that. And so every call or text is a credit. And as far as setting up the system, they have a chat that normally appears, down here, and they'll walk you through how to set up the system, or you can pay a small fee. I think it's $15 or $20 for them to set it up for you the first time. And then they'll give you the instructions on how to edit it or change it up. And then the monthly fee that we pay just for the number is just $5 a month. So it's a lot different than $1,000. There's no setup fee. There's no contract. There's no anything. Same with EasyText. EasyText, definitely no contract. You just pay for your credits. You can do a monthly plan if you choose, because the credits are cheaper, or you can just buy the credits, pay as you go, and there's no obligation for anything, no contracts, nothing. But it's so cool. And we do have a course on just utilizing these systems, but the process from taking your numbers that you're getting from the skip from your VA, right? So from your project VA, you get all your numbers, you plop them into the system, and then you send your voicemail out. There's different templates of messages for you to mark it out. It's different for a pre-foreclosure. And then literally, you guys, 1,000 to 5,000 people at one time all receive a missed call on their phone, and then they have your voicemail saying that you're interested in buying their home. And then they reply back to the system, or they call back to CallFire. I want to use it.
So the cleaner says, once the paperwork is signed by the seller, who does he hire in the United States to go out to the property?
So you can hire, first of all, when you're starting, you would do it, right? until you get enough deals going, because you don't want to allocate funds until you have some generated income coming in. But then after that, who do you hire? There's several entities. You can hire. What we recommend and what we do is a realtor, because we do flip properties in multiple states. We just reach out to a local realtor and we'll give them what you call a referral fee for what they're doing. And it's essentially the same as whenever you are, when they're going out for like a BPO, which is a buyer price opinion on a property for a bank, and they have to just take pictures and then report back to the bank if it's vacant and what status or the home is in or condition. That's essentially all it's doing. I mean, if you want to call it a BPO, you can, and you can reach out to any local agent in the area and say, hey, I need you to do a BPO for me, or explain them what you need. They'll go do it easily for $100, $200. They'll do it easily. And that's just once you get to a point where it doesn't make sense for you to go out anymore. And after you have a signed contract.
All right, what we got next? Iraq, who? Sell aside. It's only my spam. Oh, do you offer weekly Zoom for the first few months? We're not offering ongoing support for this Roundup family. This is a one-time class. Not that I know of.
As far as weekly, no. I mean, there's a whole coaching, a coaching.
Yeah, you can get in touch with Mr. Transaction
Engineer. I mean, he loves what he does. So just reach out to him if you have questions or anything. You can find out how to get on his call, and you can ask some questions then if you need to. He has a weekly call that he does. So definitely, if you need to get in touch with us, we're here. We're always here. We're not going anywhere. And Mrs. Transaction Engineers in the background running the operations.
I know it's there. Okay, this has been fabulous, Miss Engineer. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Wow. So give me your final thing, just for people that are give us, if you could just give us your final thoughts. I love doing the final thought thing on the mindset when they're going, because it can be, for me, when I was first hiring it's like, it's just so nebulous, I mean, you got, hundreds of people you can pick from and so much stuff to go through. What is the mindset they should stay in as they're trying to hire their first one?
Okay. So the mindset of thinking.
You take your screen or your screen.
So I can talk to you guys. I'm sorry. Where is that? Alrighty. Okay. All right, you guys. So the mindset, what I would want to leave you guys with is, first, take a step back. Write a list of everything you do in your business today. Okay? Everything you do. What do you spend your day doing in your business? And then from there, I want you to write VA next to every last thing that they can do based off this presentation.
Right.
And then once you figure that out, that's when you're going to have that aha moment, because then every last thing that they can do, then you're going to go back to this package and you're going to say, boom, okay, now where do I go to find one? And you're going to go find one. Now, what do I need to consider when hiring one? You're going to look for those things and filter out. Then after that, go ahead, reach out to them and just follow those processes for hiring them. Once you get them hired, provide them the content that says it goes to the VA and review it with them. That's it. And let them go. As long as you follow the principles of being seasoned, getting the seasoned VA, that's all you need. Don't get any newbies trying to be cheap, you guys. Yeah. And that's it. It's not overwhelming. Not at all.
All right, so we're going to have this packet ready tomorrow. I'm going to give her the email address and Roundup family. If you come back here tomorrow, we'll put the links to download the stuff in the video description, because we didn't have it. Okay, that's it. Roundup family, thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow with Jessica Siegel at 2 o'clock. She's going to be going over. She has been in court negotiating contracts all week, and you're not going to believe the story that she has to tell you about these negotiations.
Wow.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys soon. All right.